Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So I'm making this video again about Parshat Vayishlach because I lost the video and it's no longer on my wall. This has happened to me before, so thank you for bearing with me. For those who've already seen it, I appreciate you tuning in and I hope you enjoyed it. Here we go again. So Shabbat, I believe, is for everybody. What is Shabbat? It starts Friday evening and it goes until Saturday evening. And Shabbat is all about the unification of the worlds, above, below, man, spirit, heaven and earth, light and dark. And so it's a celebration of the coming together and the convergence, unification of these worlds, within and without. So I believe that it's a celebration for all of us. So Shabbat Shalom to you. This week's Torah story is also about Jacob, like last week. Last week was about Jacob's ladder, as many of you know that story. This week, we again find ourselves reading about Jacob, and also, again, it starts with nighttime, which represents the subconscious, connecting to the subconscious. And also it mentions angels. It starts with angels, just like last week. Why do those angels come at night when he's asleep or when he's in the darkness? Because the darkness represents that night, that subconscious going within. And so angels are, representing this in one way or another. Those angels are representing different aspects of our subconscious mind. Those angels are one with us. And so while last week, Jacob, named the place where the ladder was. He named it Bet El, house of God, Beit El. He names this place Peniel. Panim means face and El means God. So essentially he named this place the face of God. So when he gets to this place, Peniel, face of God, he wrestles with him, the Torah says. He wrestles with him, but who is he? Who is he? Who is this him that the Torah speaks of? Now some say that this him, he, is an angel, a divine presence. Some say that it's the spirit of his brother, Esav. And some say that it's God. And some say that it's a reflection of himself, that he's battling his own human nature, his ego. Why would it be the spirit of his brother? Because that's who he's on his way to meet. He stole his brother's blessing, stories back, many years ago at this time. And he's finally going to reunite with him, to make peace with him. And he sends his family and his servants ahead of him with gifts, so that as they arrive, they appease him. They bring him these different offerings, so that by the time Yaakov gets there, hopefully his brother will have a soft place in his heart for him. And so as all these beings go forth with the gifts and offerings, Jacob, stays back, and night comes, right? And he goes into his subconscious mind, into his subconscious self. And he wrestles with him, this angel. I believe that that angel is all of those things. It's an angel, it's also God, it's also Yaakov himself, and it's also his brother, the spirit of his brother Esav. It's all those things. Because Yaakov and Esav, Jacob and Esau, were brothers. They were the children of Rivka. And when Jacob left and fled from his brother for fear, out of fear that he would hurt him, they separated, and they've been separate for so long. And so now that he's facing and wrestling with this angel as he's on his way to his brother, it's like he's wrestling, yes, with his darker side, not lesser, but darker side, his subconscious self, which Esav is also the face of. Esav is the representation of all of our subconscious sides. Esav is the representation of our darkness. So yeah, it was Esav's spirit, and it was Yaakov himself, and it also was God. Because God contains all those things, all things. So I see the unification of all those factors, and I think that all the different commentaries are true in part. And so he wrestles with this angel, And he earns a new name. He earns the name Yisrael, or Israel. So Jacob becomes Israel. Yaakov becomes Yisrael. What does Yisrael mean? Well, it means a few things, actually. It has multiple meanings, just like all Hebrew words, because each Hebrew letter is hieroglyphic. So much meaning. But in this story, we learn that he's given this name, meaning he who wrestles with God, God wrestler. And God gives him this name because he says, after all these struggles, I mean, he's been through a lot so far in the Torah, a lot, many years of hard labor and just being deceived and hurt, long journey. He overcomes. He wrestles with God, with the spirit of Esau, with the darkness, with his subconscious self, with the different aspects of self. It's like that battle between good and bad. He wrestles with those aspects of self, and then he overcomes. He wins. And God actually respects that in him. Because looking back, like to the story of Noah and then Abraham, God doesn't want us to just be blindly obedient, or he would have created robots. Noah was blindly obedient. He did everything God said. And then at the end of the whole story of the ark, what happens? He gets drunk and he kills himself. He drinks himself to death. Out of guilt that he didn't save the rest of the world, he only thought about himself. He didn't even question God. But then Abraham questions God. He's the first one. He comes after Noah, and he's the first one to question God's will. This is the first representation of the expression of the gift of free will. God wants us to question. That's why we're here. It's about the struggle. If things were so easy, there would be no need for this world. This is a school. It's a mystery school. We're given this gift of this earth, this life, so that we can deepen our understanding. God knows and wants us to question. He knows that when we question, we find the answers for ourselves in a way that's relatable to our individual understanding. If we don't question, we won't know for ourselves. And so that's what it's all about. Yaakov, Jacob, wrestles with this angel, and he overcomes and earns his name, Yisrael. And so in every religion, we consider that we are all descendants of Jacob. We are all the descendants of Yaakov, the children of Jacob. But we're also the children of Israel. We're also the descendants of Israel, because both of those names are one. They're just different aspects of self. Jacob is the earthly aspect, this representing this physical reality and experience. Israel, or Yisrael, is that perfect place that lives within us, divine perfection in reflection of our Creator, Source. And so that's always in there, that's always there. But there would be no need for this world. We would just be the original light, and there would be no need for this world if it wasn't about the challenge. So I did say that Israel has multiple meanings. The word Yisrael also means straight to the one. It also means divine master. And something interesting that I learned from my mom last night is that the Hebrew letters that make up the word Yisrael, each one of those letters is the first letter of each of the matriarchs and patriarchs. So Yisrael, is Yaakov, or Jacob. Is Itzhak, or Isaac. Is Sarah. Ra is Rivka and Rachel. The Resh, Rebecca and Rachel. Or Aleph, is Abraham, Avraham. And La is the Lamed, which is Leah. I love that. So within the name Yisrael, within the name Israel, is contained the names of all the matriarchs and patriarchs that manifested this reality and all the beings that we see here today. Can you think of a time that you overcame a challenge and you struggled with your ego and you were able to overcome human nature and overcome a darker aspect of yourself when you felt anger towards someone or greed or jealousy or whatever it is, and you truly and authentically in that moment were able to reason with yourself and come to an understanding as to why that wasn't the best vibration to hold as far as the highest good of the one. And then were you able to switch your response to make sure that you thought before you acted so that you could overcome those negative feelings? Feel free to leave that in the comments. Something interesting in the Torah, it says that once a name is changed, we're never to go back to calling that individual by their old name. So, for example, Avram becomes Avraham. Avram becomes Abraham. And we're never to call him Avram again, because to call him that would be leaving out the one letter that was added, the H, the He, which is very significant. We would be calling him by a name that is no longer representative of who he is. Yet, with Yaakov, Jacob, his name is changed to Israel. But the Torah continuously goes back and forth between Yaakov and Israel. It calls him Yaakov and Israel, Yaakov, Israel, back and forth. But the Torah itself says not to do this. Don't call by their old name. So why with Yaakov is it this way? Because it wasn't simply an additional letter to the name like Avram to Avraham. Both of the names live within the one. Sometimes we are our Yaakov, or earthly self, and sometimes we are embodying our higher Yisrael self. And so the Torah specifically uses one or the other depending upon the circumstance and where we're at in the story. We go back and forth in reflection of our original creation story, the first rise and fall. One other thing about Vayishlach that I love is that it says at the end, finally, after all of his struggles, Yaakov, or Israel, comes to Shechem, and he's finally Shalem, whole. Why is he whole? He's got an injury, and he's been through all these years of struggles and stress, but he's whole. He doesn't have much, but he has all that he needs, and he feels grateful and whole. He has his family, he has his wives, he has his children, he has enough things. He has enough abundance. And I love this, that it says that, because he's about to go into Egypt and, there are more struggles to come for sure. But being whole doesn't mean that we should expect we're never going to have another struggle, that we're just perfect once we, reach that state that we're always just going to remain there. No, that's the whole point. It's about the rise and the fall and the rise again. It's about the struggle. That's why we're here. We earn our name. And so he feels whole in a sense that he feels complete with everything he needs inside of him. It's not about the things. And as you all know, one of the major vices, especially of our current time, is prodigality and being obsessed with luxury. This is a cancer. This is what Native Americans would call a disease. And it's true, and all cultures say this. Take what you need, and that's it. Because when we take more and we're selfish, and we become obsessed with luxury, prodigality, then the balance of the world gets very messed up. Our original design shows that there is always that divine order of giving and receiving. When we need, we can take. When others are in need, we should give. But when we take so much for our individual selves, how is that reflecting for the greater self? That's not very fair, is it? And Yaakov is a representation of the opposite of prodigality, being humble and being grateful for what we have as what we need, and not more than that. So that's one of the themes I feel of this Parsha, is overcoming prodigality and recognizing it in our present-day society and reconciling that. But the main theme of this Parsha is that we are here to go through the struggle. That's why this world is here. That's why it was created, so that we can evolve, so that we can deepen our life experience and grow our love experience, because life is love. When we deepen our understanding of life, we deepen our understanding of love, which then manifests as more love in this world. When we understand something, we know something. So when we understand more deeply, we know more deeply. Therefore, we sow more deeply. To know is to sow. As we know life, we know love, and we bring it about in manifestation in this world. And so it is about the struggle. And it's knowing that Yaakov, Jacob, and Yisrael, Israel, lives within each of us. The duality lives within each of us, and that's perfect as it is. This is a reality of duality. And we earn our name, Yisrael, or we earn the name, whatever that is, to you, of your highest self. As we not only face the challenges, but we overcome them. That's what life is about. Thanks for tuning in for this week's Parshat Vayishlach. I very much look forward to continuing the story with you here, in here, and out there. Shabbat Shalom, and happy full moon. I did a reading yesterday, a tarot reading for the collective for the full moon. So if you missed it, go ahead and type in Rebecca Magic with a CK on YouTube. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you get notifications when I upload there. And the last video will be the full moon reading. So happy full moon, Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you next week.